What is up everyone, Disco Battle Weekend. I pushed from 2500 rating to Legend rank, running several different teams in the Open Great League, most of which I will showcase on this channel over the next couple of days, so be subscribed for that I guess. But today I want to showcase the one team that pushed me over the finish line, which is Shadow Dragonite, Lickitung and Registeel, a very meta team with a squishy but hard-hitting anti-fighter in the lead in Dragonite, followed up by two tanks in Lickitung and Registeel to really function as a third and fourth shield in most of these games. I actually ran this team with Shadow Charizard in the lead for a while as well, but because I was facing a lot of water types, especially Lantern and Pelipper in the lead, I switched to Dragonite and this ended up being just a little more consistent. Let's get into the battle, starting off with a Pelipper lead. Pretty positive for Dragonite as Dragon Breath is just so oppressive here, but because Dragonite is so squishy, wind attacks are definitely adding up as well, and whatever charge move the Pelipper is gonna throw, I've got to shield it, because even a resisted Weather Ball is going to do a ton here. They could even throw two here, and if they did, I would shield up the second one as well, as that's generally how you're going to want to play out leads with Dragonite. Just double shield and do as much damage with Dragon Breath as possible. This time opponent actually decides to switch out into Lantern though, and decide to do as much damage with Dragon Breath as possible before switching out into my Lickitung to make this a very comfortable matchup for it. Dragonite also has dipped out with a ton of energy now, which could be useful against the Pelipper or whatever other Pokemon they have in the back later. Power Up does about 50%, doesn't knock out the Lantern right there, but will put it into a range where I can now lick down. Thunderbolt doesn't knock out the Lickitung yet. Lickitung is just super thick. So easily take that, well, easily enough to where I can still get to another move versus the final Pokemon, which ends up being a Galarian Stunfisk. Now, this is kind of rough, because Registeel does not love to see this. Dragonite does not love it either. But since I have a Superpower stored, I'm just going to switch it in, throw Superpower to the Galarian Stunfisk. This will likely take the final shield, which it does. That opens it up to getting Focus Blasted by my Registeel, so that's great. They're going to end up throwing a Rock Slide here. They overfarmed by 1, which means they're now 7 away from an Earthquake, which is a problem. That means they're going to outpace my Registeel to move, as they're 14 turns away from an Earthquake, and I'm 15 away from Focus Blast. I'm kind of afraid of a catch here, so I don't end up throwing my Focus Blast, and I do end up trying to go for it. Still though, even though Zap Cannon would straight up knock out the Pelipper, I'm gonna go for Focus Blast, as I want to come out of this matchup with energy. And I don't care if they get of another Weather Ball now here, because I'm already in Earthquake range anyway. So they're gonna get to another Weather Ball. This is super fine. I have enough energy now to where even if the Galarian Stunfisk were to bait with a Rock Slide, I should be able to outpace it to a Focus Blast before they get to the Earthquake. And I do end up baiting, but that's fine. I still have enough energy to get to the Rock Slide there before they reach the Earthquake. And that is a really good game right there. GG. Alright, next match, Gligar lead. Again, another match where you just want to stay in with Dragonite, double shield, and try to Dragon Breath all the way down. Gligar, unfortunately, is tanky enough to where they can get to 3 Aerial Aces before you Dragon Breath down. But generally, in that case, you're gonna want to try to catch the third move on your Lickitung. You're gonna see me try to do that later as well. For now, we're just gonna shield up another Aerial Ace. After they shield up my Dragon Claw, I can still outpace to the third Aerial Ace, or to a Dragon Claw before they get to the third Aerial Ace, which would be a 15 wing attacks, by the way. It's exactly 5 wing attacks for every Aerial Ace. So I believe they are there right now. So I'm gonna switch into my Lickitung, hoping they throw it. Unfortunately though, they held off. Very smart move by my opponent there, realizing that I was likely going to attempt a catch. Because they waited there though, I did get a couple licks in before they were able to dip out into Medicham, which means they're now in range where probably one Dragon Breath knocks it out, so they might not even get a move off later. They brought out Medicham here. So luckily it's a Psychic Medicham, which makes this pretty good for Lickitung. Lickitung against Psychic Medicham wins, pretty sure, the 0 shields pretty comfortably, as you can see, and I think also the 2 shields. But generally, you're just going to want to play out the 0 shield scenario here. Out comes Lickitung. This is really good for me. Reason I have Registeel in the back with this squad is mainly for these Lickitungs, because they're everywhere. And they're so tough to deal with, unless you have a hard counter like Registeel on your team. Out comes Gligar now. I knew they were 1 away from Dig, so once the Gligar came in, I made them do 1 wing attack and then switch into Dragonite to catch the Dig here. Farm down the Gligar. Out comes Lickitung now, and with this healthy of a Registeel, my opponent knows it's over for them and they concede the match. Azumarill lead, very tough. I bring in Lickitung and have Bastiodon. That is super rough for Lickitung, even though I have neutral fast and charge moves here. Bastiodon is just so much more tanky and has better moves to hit Lickitung, because Smackdown, Stone Edge, just a better combination of moves than Lick, Power Whip, especially when they're not stab and they're stab on Bastiodon. So Bastiodon just owns this matchup. Even if I use a shield here and Bastiodon uses no shields, Bastiodon still wins here. It is so bad. It is so bad for Lickitung. And I'm scared of what they have in the back. Generally with Bastiodon, it is Medicham, which will be rough for Registeel. I throw another power up here though. Bad timing, but I do bring this into red, which is nice. But yeah, if it's Medicham, this game is just over. If it's something else that's weak to Registeel, it might be fine though. But they're already double weak to Registeel, it's kind of unlikely. We'll see. They're now 2 away from Stone Edge. And I know I cannot lock on down, so I actually bring in Dragonite to do a lot of fast move damage before bringing in Registeel to catch this Stone Edge. Now this Bastiodon will be in range to where I can lock it down later or even Dragon Breath down. They end up having Galarian Stunfisk in the back, which does open up a win condition here because I will be able to outpace to 3 Focus Blasts before they get to 3 Earthquakes. Which means at this point, I'm looking to catch the 3rd Earthquake on my Dragonite. If I can manage to do that, I might be able to win this game still, unless the Azumarill's Hydro Pump. If the Azumarill's Hydro Pump, this could still get tough. But if it doesn't, Registeel is quite a wall there, and even at 50% HP, I might be able to deal with it. Getting off the 2nd Focus Blast here. As you can see, I was already gunning for the catch there, but unfortunately, my timer wasn't up. Just barely not. If my timer was up there, I would have caught this Earthquake. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't up. That's fine. I'm just going to get to another Focus Blast here. They're almost at the 3rd Earthquake. I'm pretty sure they're 1 much shot away. But I didn't think they'd throw immediately because they have a lot of time to throw. There's a long way to go for me to get to my Focus Blast. So I wasn't expecting the Earthquake immediately. I was going to catch up for 2 much shots, but unfortunately, they did throw it immediately. And that takes out my Registeel. And now, yeah, Dragonite has no play versus Azumarill anymore. So we're just gonna let it take me out, and that is a good game. And they also threw Play Rough into my Dragonite too, which means they probably don't have Ice Beam. It's just a cheaper move, which means they likely have Hydro Pump, which even if I caught that move, would have still been a rough game. Okay, Tapu Fini in the lead. This is really, really bad, but I switched to Registeel. I actually know this opponent, and I know what team they're running. It's Tapu Fini, Registeel, Steelix, which means my Registeel is incredibly good. Normally, against Tapu Fini lead, I would honestly recommend you switch in Lickitung, as when shields are up, that's a better matchup versus Tapu than with Reggie. Like, you'd rather have your Reggie against Tapu when shields are down. But in this case, since I knew the team, I knew that Registeel was going to be incredible as a switch, as they don't really have any great answers except for the Registeel, which I do answer with here. And since I have an energy lead, I should be able to win this. They already did some damage with Water Gun Stun though, which do bring me in Focus Blast range. And I do want to save my Registeel, so I actually bring in my Dragonite here to get a lot of fast move pressure on that Registeel. Out comes Steelix now. I'm going to need to superpower this, take a shield, which is just great. Remember, I also have a Focus Blast stored on Registeel, which I make a mistake here. Actually, don't throw it, because in my mind, Registeel has like incredibly low attack, and I'd likely lose CMP everywhere. But Steelix has even lower attack than Registeel, so I should have definitely just thrown it, as I would have won the CMP tie. But even now, it does enough to where I can lock on down, so it's fine. And this attack drop is not really gonna matter. I was considering trying to catch a move on Lickitung here, but I figured it's better to just let them throw their energy and then just get to a power whip on Lickitung. I have one lose condition here now, and that is if they catch the power whip on their 1 HP Registeel, and I'm very afraid of that because my opponent here is very, very good. So I overfarm, and at some point I just end up throwing, and luckily they don't catch it on the Registeel, take out the Tapu Fini, and now I'm able to lick down the Registeel as well. Very GG's. Okay, Medicham lead. Now this might seem pretty good for Dragonite, but it's actually kind of awkward, especially in the zero shields. Dragon Claw does not knock out, but Ice Sponge will knock out like an entire family of Dragonite. So I have to shield it. And then they can just switch out to Lickitung, and they have gained a shield advantage, which isn't great for me, but on the other hand, I have Registeel. So I bring this Lickitung into a range where Focus Blast would knock out with about 12 Dragon Breath. You gotta make sure you switch out before that Body Slam, so you gotta throw like 12 Dragon Breath, and then you can catch the Body Slam on Registeel like I did just now. And because I've already chipped this Licky, one Focus Blast is enough to knock it out. I'm actually gonna undercharge it a little bit as well. Since their timer isn't up yet, I can get a few extra lock-ons here. And that's going to be really helpful if the Medicham comes back in, because then I will be able to get to a Zap Cannon right as it's in there. Yeah, as you can see, I end up getting out of that matchup with basically 100 energy. And I can throw a Zap Cannon right as the Medicham comes in. There we go. There's a ton of damage on the Medicham. I bring in Dragonite there, since I didn't want him to take out my Registeel. I was expecting another Pokemon weak to Registeel in the back, and as you can see, it is the Bastiodon. So saving that Registeel is very nice. Also, I get a shield with Super Power there. I was fine just going for the Super Power as I get to another. And even though it's debuffed, it does enough to put it in range to where I can Focus Blast it. Or even Power Whip it with Lickitung later. So I wasn't too worried about them shielding my first Super Power and then taking the second once I'm debuffed. So I just take a shield here. At this point, I can either decide to let Reggie go or sweep this with Lickitung. And I decide, since their timer's probably not up yet, I can just shield up my Registeel here and get to the Focus Blast versus the Bastiodon. This knocks it out, and then my Lickitung will be able to lick down the low HP Medicham in the back. There we go. GG. Dragonite, just again, farming up so much energy wherever you can and then just unleashing that energy later. That's really the way to play this game with Dragonite. Pelipper lead, they're gonna go straight for the Weather Ball, but I got a shield, as Dragonite is so incredibly squishy. Again, Lantern comes in. This time I'm gonna go for the Dragon Claw. Just to put it in Power Whip range. I'm gonna overfarm more though, switch right before I get to the Surf. Now this Lantern is basically in range where I can Body Slam and farm down, which will be fine too. Get to the Thunderbolt. Just gonna keep licking, put it into Body Slam range. That was not Body Slam range quite yet, it was slightly less than 20%. And they only just got into the red, which is 20%. Now I'm gonna throw my Body Slam right before they get to another Surf. This will knock out the Lantern from this range. And then if they bring in Pelipper, I have like a lot of energy to throw on it. They actually end up bringing Alolan Sandslash in though, and this is tough. Alolan Sandslash with Shadow Claw is very, very manageable for this team, as Lickitung just destroys it. And Registeel is kind of fine there as well. And even Dragonite can like do a lot of damage with Dragon Breath there. You don't have to worry about a charge move really. But with Powder Snow, things are very rough. Versus Powder Snow, A-Slash, Registeel is actually better since 2 Drurans are not enough to knock out, I think, with the Power Snows. Well, I'm not sure about that, but at the very... No, actually, I do think 2 knock out, but you're able to outpace the Focus Blast before they get to 2, so you end up winning every single even shield scenario. Because the Shadow Claws just don't add up enough to where a single Druran is enough to knock out. However... I was a shield down, and that just makes it very bad. I think I have to catch a Druran on Dragonite here, which I do try. Unfortunately, they saw it coming, so they just throw an Ice Punch here. Less energy. Still, I should be able to outpace the A-Slash though, but my opponent makes a smart move here. Brings in Pelipper, because now I have to spend a lot of energy here. I actually try undercharging the Zap Cannon, because I need to get the debuff and get this in range where I can lock on down, but I did too much charge. It's an electric move. I should have just no-bubbled it, and then maybe got a lock on down, but even then... Even the buff, the Weather Ball probably does enough to almost knock me out. And then they can probably just Ice Punch me. So probably it's just game over. Yeah, Alolan Sandslash with an energy lead and a shield advantage is just really bad there. GG's. Alright, Umbreon lead. Not great. I should have probably thrown my Super Power before the second foul play. That would have likely been the way to go. But I don't mind this either. Like, if you go a shield down with Dragonite and have so much energy stored, it's really not the worst. They bring out Alolan Ninetales here and an instant switch into Licky. But I realized this might have been a mistake. They lead Umbreon, they have Ninetales in the back. They're double weak to Registeel, which means they likely have a Registeel answer in the back. So, maybe what I should have done there was just superpower the A9 and let my Dragonite go. Then I can align the Registeel versus the Alolan Ninetales and have my Licky for whatever else is left in the back, which is likely an anti-Registeel. And since I do realize that now, likely an anti-Registeel in the back, I'm going to shield my Lickitung, hoping it's going to be like Medicham. I think if it's Medicham, I would still have played there, especially if it's Ice Punch Psychic Medicham, because versus that moveset of Medicham, Registeel still has a lot of play. And Licky can get a lot of licks in there too to do some extra chip damage in the Body Slam. Ends up being Gligar though, and Gligar's pretty bad for me as just kind of walls. Registeel really, the charge moves aren't going to do enough to knock it out from this range even. Well, maybe barely from this range, but they still have 2 shields. At this point, I feel like I have one win condition, and that's trying to catch a dig on the CMP tie with Dragonite. So get over Dragon Claw while Sir CMP tied with me, so they're forced to throw the energy into my Dragonite. That's what I tried to do here. I actually ended up throwing Superpower, which was I meant to throw Dragon Claw, but honestly this works out better, because since I didn't throw, they actually get less farm down now because I'm debuffed. But yeah, I didn't get the catch on that dig, so that game was definitely over. GG there. Pidgeot lead is interesting. They get to the Brave Bird and Feather Dance in 7. So I'm gonna throw the Dragon Claw here. They let it go. And that makes me believe they're gonna Brave Bird here, which would knock me out. So I'm gonna shoot it up, but they Feather Dance, which is a crazy play. As if I no-shoot there, they're just so far behind. In comes Sableye now. I'm not gonna let my Dragonite go down to it when I'm debuffed. So I'm just gonna switch in my Lickitung, as that is a pretty good answer here. And since they're switch locked, I'm not really worried about getting hard walled by maybe a potential Registeel in the back or a Pidgeot that's still lurking in the front. However, with Pidgeot lead, generally you can expect Swampert in the back. So that is what I'm expecting right now. And that might be pretty bad for me. Because even though I have Dragonite left, which is a very good answer to that Swampert, I'm in range for a single Hydro Cannon. And they will get the 2 of them. So that's definitely not ideal. Pidgeot comes out now. I would have loved to be able to switch out into Dragonite to farm it down. But unfortunately, my switch timer is not up yet. So I'm forced to throw Body Slam. Means I won't have a lot of energy left for the Swampert that's coming in. Swampert comes in now. I instant switch in Dragonite. Gonna go for the Dragon Claw here. I didn't think I'd be able to get to a move on Lickitung next. So that's why you're gonna see me make a pretty questionable play here. They have 2 Hydro Cannons stored now. But the thing is, if I let my Dragonite go down... Actually, let me explain this. If I let my Dragonite go down there, my Registeel will never be able to make 2 Focus Blasts. I need to get this shield down so my Registeel can Focus Blast. So I shield this up, just hoping they think that I'm at a Dragon Claw. Because why would I shield if I'm not at a Dragon Claw, right? But my opponent's very good at counting apparently. And they do throw the Hydro. So now I'm in a very bad spot. Worse than I was if I would have just let that go. Bring in Registeel. At this point, my only hope is that I was wrong. And that my Lickitung can get to a Body Slam. I'm going to throw the Focus Blast right after this Earthquake here. Luckily, they did throw basically immediately. That helps me out a bit. They're 3 Mudshots away from the Hydro. So I'm going to have to get to the Body Slam in 5 licks. And I am just barely able to get there. So I've got to be honest, this was a little bit lucky. I never should have shielded my Dragonite. If I would have just shielded... or not shielded the Dragonite, let the move go on Dragonite, and then use the shield for Registeel or Lickitung later, this would have been a much easier game, but luckily I still got it. Anyway, next lead is Sableye. Dragonite should be able to farm this down before they get 2 foul plays. Throwing a move is actually a mistake here, because that allows him to get 1 free turn, and will allow him to get to 2 foul plays there generally, so you gotta just not throw your moves there. I bring out Lickitung into the Azumarill. Out comes Venusaur, and now with a lick of energy advantage. This is great, because I don't go down to 1 Frenzy Plant, and they will go down to 2 Body Slams, which now that I have the energy lead, I will be able to outpace there. Throw another Frenzy here. Now the thing is, if I throw the Body Slam immediately... Actually, no. I messed up here. I didn't throw my Body Slam. I was like, I don't really want to get bubbled down by the Azumarill, so just let it go. But I should have just thrown it. My Licky had enough health to where the Azumarill would not have been able to farm me down. But during the battle, I was like, I'll let it go, then I can farm down with Dragonite. That'll be fine as well. Which it does end up being. But I think it would be more optimal to throw the Body Slam into the Venusaur there, as there was no risk of getting farmed out by the Azumarill. Anyway, it doesn't matter, because he still won the game. Okay, Swampert in the lead. This is a regular Swampert. I can take a Hydro Cannon here. This is the rare instance where you don't shoot a move on your Dragonite, as you can take it. Out comes Sableye. Now I'm going to throw a Dragon Claw, because if they let this go, I can fully farm down the Sableye with Lick. And if they shoot it, then my Licky is in a good spot to just double power up and take it out. They're going to end up throwing a return here, which means I can fully farm this down before they get to a foul play, which is great. Leaves me with enough health to be able to pressure Swampert later, and a lot of energy. Oh, I do farm it all the way down. They're super weak to Lickitung though, so they might have like Registeel in the back, I was thinking. Which would not be great, because, well, it would still be okay for my squad. It would just make this energy useless. But luckily, it seems they don't have a great Registeel answer in the back. Or don't have a Registeel in the back, or another, or different great Lickitung answer. We go for the power up on Swampert here. Clearly, they're super weak to Lickitung, which makes me curious about what's in the back. So I'm actually going to shoot it. I want to go for another power up there, but unfortunately, they switch out. Which is fine, actually. This is super fine with me. I'm going to Body Slam here. My Registeel is basically useless. Honestly, what I should have done here, after throwing this second Body Slam, switch it to Registeel. Because it's going to do nothing against the Swampert, really. Now, what I end up doing is something pretty risky. And I go for the Dragonite, and I just barely reach a Dragon Claw. Luckily, I did, because if I had not reached that, I would have been in a bad spot. But I did reach it, so it doesn't matter at this point. The Swampert's not going to outpace the 2 Hydros before I get to a Body Slam, so my opponent concedes. GG. Superior lead, extremely good for Dragonite. In comes Steelix, and I was not really aware of how this matchup would go. So, in my mind, This is a super good matchup for Registeel, and I just double shield whatever. I get the triple Focus Blast. Even if they double Breaking Swipe bait me here, I should be fine here. Is what I thought. Shoot up the first Breaking Swipe. I think I'm still fine here. Obviously, they're gonna Breaking Swipe me after this again if they shield up this Focus. But I'm like, you know, let them do that. Because I still get to another Focus Blast before they reach the Earthquake, right? Well, not exactly. Steelix is absolutely insane and reaches the Earthquake here. Registeel goes down. And now I'm in trouble. Now I'm in big trouble. Actually bring in Dragonite, because they probably have a good answer in the back. Go for the Superpower to take out the Steelix. Out comes Alone Sensor, Shadow Claw now. And yeah, now I just know it's over, because Superior is a good matchup versus Lickitung as well. So yeah, that game was definitely a loss I concede the match. What I really should have done there is just call a Breaking Swipe bait with my Registeel, and then Focus Blast. But ultimately, it is a 50-50 call. They could have also gone for the Earthquake immediately, of course. But knowing most Steelix players, with how I've seen them play in most matches against me, they generally just go for straight Breaking Swipe. So I would recommend you just try to call a bait there. And then you should be able to comfortably win every even shield scenario with Registeel. Anyway, that was it for this video. Hope you enjoyed the battles. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck with your battles, trainers.